Caught my wife having an emotional affair with a coworker on New Year's Eve, family pressures to work it out, but I want a divorce. Coming into the new year, I had no idea my wife had been at the bare minimum having an emotional affair with a coworker. On New Year's Eve, before I found out about this, she came home and acted extremely cold toward me and our kids. She was angry. Earlier on that evening, she asked if she could go out to have one drink with a female coworker, whom I knew and trusted. I told her that was cool, but that the kids were staying up for the ball drops, so as long as she could be back to celebrate with them, I was fine with it. Well, she ended up getting off of work at 11:30 and barely had enough time to get home. After the ball drop, she cried and cried. I asked her what was wrong, and she said she got invited to her friend's house to have drinks with them. All three of them women, all married. I had no issue. I said, "Look, I'm not sure what's wrong and why you're crying about this. That's fine. You deserve a girls' night out every once in a while. I don't mind watching the kids. Just go." I put the kids to bed. She left, and then about 3 hours later. So 3 a.m. I tried to contact her. No answer. I wait about 15 minutes. Call her again. No answer. I call her friend who she's supposed to be with. No answer. She then texts me back 5 minutes later and says, "Yeah, I'm still coming home tonight." We're still drinking. Never in our 6 years of marriage had I felt a gut feeling that something else was going on, but that night it all hit me. I went through our phone records and found another number I was unfamiliar with that she had been in contact with all night. Ignoring my calls, texting that number in between, etc. She had also been texting this number for a 3-month period daily. I never suspected that she would be texting another dude while right beside me watching family movies either. As times had shown. How I didn't see this, I have no idea. Maybe she had this individual listed as mom in her phone. I don't know. I had never gotten this vibe or feeling our entire marriage. I was blindsided by it. Anyway, I confront her about it through text with the proof like an idiot. She speeds home, deletes everything on her phone. No way of getting the backups restored. No way of ever knowing she did not meet up with this guy. Upon finding this out, I immediately told her I wanted a divorce. It was at this point she began getting violent with me. Talking shit about everything I had been doing to keep us financially stable. The 18-hour work days that kept a roof over our heads. She told me that I needed to leave even though I pay rent and both our kids are asleep. I refused. We slept in separate rooms that night, and the next day she tried to act like nothing even happened. Claiming that she remembered we'd fought but couldn't remember what it was about. So I show her the phone records even though I'm positive she was just trying to pull some crap. She confesses who the individual was and says they flirted a lot but never met up. I told her if that was true she'd have no issues restoring the text messages she deleted, at which point it was confirmed she deleted everything and deleted her last backup. She also saved a backup after they were deleted the night everything went to shit. Since then she's tried hard to convince me they never did anything and never saw each other aside from work. I keep finding bits and pieces of things that don't make sense. Chunks of text deleted from her friends' messages around that time. Pictures on her Google Drive from that night, where she was with who she said she was, deleted from her phone. For what reason? The most damning evidence I have is for a 2-hour period on New Year's Eve. They stopped texting each other, then randomly started texting again at around 3 a.m. when I started calling and got that feeling. My gut tells me she left her friend's place, went to his place and went back. Or she went straight to his place from our place, then went to her friends when she found out I was calling them. There are revealing pictures of herself she never sent me also on her Google Drive taken on Snapchat. She's since given me all her attention. She initiates intimacy tenfold. The texting stopped. She shows me everything on her Snapchat and even downloads her data to show me she's not hitting other people up. I'm seeing the side of her I haven't seen since we were married all those years ago. But I can't help but trust my gut in demanding a divorce. I feel like she's kept things from me. Not knowing for sure is killing me inside. My parents know all of this and keep pressuring me to work it out and not dwell. My brothers are saying fuck that, get a divorce. Am I wrong in getting a divorce? Keep in mind the dates. It's now been over 4 months since this occurred. I'm positive she cut the individual completely out. But I still can't get over the not 100% knowing, and my gut tells me she's still lying. Edit: if some of this is confusing, ask and I will clarify. I will also give context where needed. Also, sorry for the way this was written. I'm aware there is some jumping back and forth, etc. I'm just scatterbrained right now. It's honestly getting to me more now than the night I found out. It just keeps building. I feel stupid. Edit 2, also. Forgot to add this: the individual in question is an employee she manages. As in, she is his direct supervisor. I've heard there are greater legal consequences for this, but I have no idea. For clarification, the individual in question is actually morbidly obese. I'm by no means fit. But I'm not fat either. Went back and looked at the timestamps for the pictures that were deleted of her and her friends that night. On Google Drive, before that 2-hour period of no texting, during, and after there were several pictures taken with verified timestamps on them. As in they cannot be changed on Google Drive. Whether or not she has a friend that's tech-savvy and was able to do that within the 10 minutes it took her to get home upon confronting, I don't know. Is this possible? It's also worth adding I come from a family that has thoroughly convinced one of my cousins that she needs to stay in her marriage even when her husband became solely reliant on her, got addicted to coke. Is still addicted to coke and physically abused her. All because by golly no one in this family has ever gotten a divorce, so essentially doing so I would get disowned by my parents, my sister, all my cousins, all my aunts, all uncles. But would still have the support of my 2 brothers. Update: when I sit here typing this out on my morning break while listening Tuesdays Gone by Leonard Skinnard. After a long day of considering my options on Friday, I sat my wife down on Friday evening when she got off work, and I had out the kids to bed. As soon as I brought up that my trust in her was completely gone, she immediately became argumentative and essentially stated I thought we had left this in the past. You never trusted me, did you? I responded with, even if you didn't do anything physical or met up with him outside of work, you'll never let me see those text messages. You'll never pull the Snapchat data, she responded with, you're right. Marriage is based off trust, and if you don't trust me then maybe we ought to call it quits. The irony in this is that I worked 18 to 19-hour days for the past few years, barely being able to do anything I wanted to do in my life because I was supporting our children, getting them to bed, cleaning the house all the time, doing all the cooking, barely even getting enough sleep. Probably took years off my life just from the stress. She on New Year's Eve said fuck the kids, fuck you, and essentially went out to party with her friends, all the while ignoring calls from me and our daughter asking where she was, while also responding to her bare minimum emotional affair partner. Not getting into all the details so as to not repeat myself between this and the update. Long story short. In my state we have to be separated for a year before a divorce can be finalized. When I agreed with her that we should start separating and that I had already been in contact with a lawyer, she freaked the fuck out on me. She begged me not to go through with it. But alas. Next Friday I will be dropping her off at her parents' a few hours away. The kids will be staying with me for now with the help of one of my brothers. I told her there was only one way I would put this off for now. That was pull the data, pull the texts. Prove your case. She looked down at the ground. One more time. And told me that's a violation of her privacy. We haven't spoken since. For now for my kids I go. Keep on keeping on. Update 2: I filed for divorce against my family's wishes. Whole other story also answered in previous update. We are separated but the divorce can't be finalized until next year. 1 year of being separated is required. She begged and begged for me not to go through with it, begged me to stay. Not to toss everything out over one little mistake. Funny how she sees infidelity as a mistake that lasted 3 months. Yeah. Regardless, I've spent a lot of time with my kids. She sees them on weekends if she chooses. Has only been a couple of times. I'd love to say that I'm over it all. But I'm still healing. I really did love her and I wish things worked out different. But I can never trust her again. She tried everything she could sexually to get me to stay. Hell, the day she finally confessed everything I came home to her dressed up like never before, ready to go. I declined. She went as far as offering me head every day for the rest of our lives if I stayed. I've been working and taking care of the kids. It's harder on them than it is me if I'm being honest. They still don't understand. I've just been telling them mommy has some things she's working on. I don't have the heart to tell them. We won't be a functional household anymore at this time. Also, my parents haven't one time reached out to me since I told them I was filing for divorce. Not even to check on my kids or anything. But I've been making this work with the help of my brother and a few good friends. A few girlfriends from the past have hit me up to see if I want to catch up, but I need to focus on myself and my kids. Thank you all for reaching out through DMing and commenting. Sorry. Yes. She sent me a half-assed confession while I was at work through Snapchat one day. Bawling hysterically, telling me she fucked up and kissed him one time after he walked her to her car. I don't believe that for 1 second. I said if that's all then prove it by providing me with the messages you deleted. Once again I was met with that's an invasion of my privacy, plus if I was in your position I would just want to forgive, forget and move on. Easy for the cheater to go ahead and say. I pressed it a few more times and was met with trust me you don't want to read that shit. Why would you want to read that? Case closed. Edit, going to vent for a second. I'll be honest with y'all. I tried to give her one final chance to talk things through. I told myself the minute she got hostile about it all I was done. Within 5 minutes of our final talk I was being blamed for working too much. I quote, "This isn't a fucking trial. You weren't perfect either. I was practically screaming for help and you let me drown. I took the kids to daycare, cleaned the house all the time, picked them up after work, put them to bed, did all the cooking, did the dishes, took on a side hustle to give her a dream vacation which we went on just before her affair started. Which is where a good few of y'all may know me from, the side hustle, The real kicker I didn't tell y'all about was when I went through her phone that first night. I saw messages from her her mom, talking about how she felt the disconnect. That I wasn't what she wanted anymore. Months before her affair began, her mom highly encouraged her to sit me down and explain the way she felt. She even told her mom that she did. She never did. Apparently sitting me down and having a talk was her going off and having an affair. I guarantee she'll never find someone that will treat her the way I did. Breakfast in bed Saturday and Sunday. I woke up with the kids so she could sleep in for years. She gave it all up for someone who can't even cover their own bills and still lives with mommy and daddy.